Hey guys, even here with the old school abs, and to be honest with you, I started making a news video. I started making physique updates and I realized I have quite a few classic physique guys with their updates. So I thought maybe I can make a video about the classic physique guys who can actually beat Chris Bumstead, or the ones that have the biggest chance to do so. So who do we have here? Well, first I saw this video. Logan Franklin, a newcomer, guy that everybody is talking about when the topic is dethroning Chris Bumstead. He is still unproven, but we're gonna see how he looks soon in a New York Pro. He's prepping for it and he's very close to the show right now and he looks really good. So I'm really curious to see him up there. As for now, what I can say, he has all the tools that he needs. He just needs to come big and conditioned, and that's it. That's it, he has everything. He has everything that Chris has, but bigger arms and bigger back. But that all sounds good and looks good on paper. We're gonna see how these guys look when we compare them one next to another. Is it gonna be Chris's maturity or conditioning or just classical lines that are gonna prevail over Logan? Or are we actually gonna have an upset and see Logan going home with a medal? We'll see soon enough. But one thing about Logan is certain, he hasn't been sleeping. He had time and he used that time, he utilized it perfectly to upgrade his physique. He doesn't have the luxury like Chris has to maintain his physique. Chris achieved probably his maximum potential when it comes to classic physique. Logan didn't. And now we're gonna see what Logan looks like when he improves. How about we move to the proven ones, to the 2 times classic physique Mr. Olympia champion, Breon Ainsley, who has been also working hard on improving his physique. And when he's improving his physique, he's talking about the details, the small muscle. He uses a lot of isolation movements and he speaks about improving his physique when it comes to details. And recently, I made a video about it, he took a couple of shots at Chris, saying that Chris has no arms and that's why he should not be a Mr. Olympia champion. But you know what? Enough talk. Let's take a look at 2019 Classic Physique Mr. Olympia when these 2 guys were compared one next to another, and let's see what was actually the difference, why Chris won. We'll be brief with this one, don't worry, I'm not gonna show you the whole video. And on the right you can see 2 current 212 competitors, actually George Peterson and Keon Pearson. So we're gonna remove them from the equation. We're gonna just take a look at Breon and Chris, and also this guy on the left that took actually 5th place, and his name is Chen Kang. So, front double bicep. Move your head. Yeah, that's it. Okay, now you can see that right here, even though Breon does have better arms, overall flow, I give it to Chris. I give this post to Chris. Now we come to the side chest. Take a look at the glute separation. Chris is better in that region. Take a look at the chest. The chest is more broad. Even though this guy's head keeps popping up, you can still see it right now. The overall polish, the conditioning, the separation, the glutes and the hamstrings, and the chest width, and still Breon is on. Breon is on. This is Breon when he's on, and still he lost. So that's a big point. I don't think Breon can get much better than this. Again, glutes, Chris's are definitely more separated and crispier. Back, yeah, maybe Breon has better back overall, but he doesn't have that polish. And this was the year when actually Chris found out about that kidney immune system disease, and still he managed to come really sharp. On the left there you saw Alex Cambronero, who won the Arnold Classic later, and here you can see Chang showing his beautiful midsection. This is his trademark, and I'm going to talk about both of these guys later. And also you can see Chris's vacuum. So and Chang also has an amazing vacuum. So there is another thing that Breon is not very good at, a vacuum. And then we come to basically the essence of the whole thing, your favorite classic physique pose, where you can actually show your classical lines and actually show the judges and the audience how classic of a physique you are, or your physique is. And here you can see the difference. It's definitely subjective and it's debatable, but I would definitely go with Chris all day, all night, and I'm sure many of you, most of you would as well. So the way I see it, Breon has a good chance to be second again, because he's a really good bodybuilder, he's complete, but he was on last year and he cannot really improve much because he did reach his weight cap. All he can do is come conditioned again and hope for Chris to come off. If that happens, maybe he can retake the title. If not, if Chris comes on again like he was last year, Brian has no chance. Alright, so the natural course of action would be to consider next Alex Cambronero, who won the Anno Classic 2020 this year. He was in top 6 last year at Mr. Olympia, but he improved significantly since then. What I don't like about his physique are two things. His legs could be just a little bit bigger. Now, they're not small, they're not undeveloped, there is nothing missing to them. I would just like to see them a little bit bigger and fuller. Like Chris, you know, he has dominant legs. I like to see dominant legs. I think that's more classic. This guy has a good posing and he has a really nice flowing classic physique, but his face lacks confidence, and that's something that really throws me away. I would like to see him smiling more and showing that he knows how good he is. I'm sure he knows it, but he's not showing it. Look at the back though, really amazing back, really amazing classic physique from behind. He had a neck injury not so long ago, and that's why his neck is tilted to right side, as you can see right here, and it's also a weakness for him. So that's 3 weaknesses. I would like to see bigger legs, I would like to see more confidence in his face, in his facial expressions, and I would like to see, I mean, that's not something that he can fix, you know. His neck is injured, but that's like having gyno, for example. All you can do is have a surgery, you know, something like that. Like if you have hernia or a muscle tear, something like that. You cannot change those things, it is what it is, but it is throwing off his balance, unfortunately. So overall, he's an amazing classic physique guy, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see him win the Mr. Olympia, even with these weaknesses. Nobody's perfect, guys. Chris is not perfect, nobody's perfect, but if this guy fixes all these things, he can do a lot better, if you ask me. Alright, next, let's mention Chen Kang and his beautiful midsection. He has it. He has probably the best looking midsection on that classic physique Mr. Olympia stage. But is that gonna be enough? I don't know. You guys tell me. What this guy has is good legs, but this time around these legs are a little bit too big, if you ask me. But overall, he has a nice flow, very aesthetic physique, very clean lines, clean skin, clear skin, I wanted to say. You know, that polish. That's something that Asian guys have. They really have aesthetics, you know, small waist, clear skin, very good polish. As I said 3 times right now, overall, a very aesthetically pleasing physique. A little bit bigger legs if you ask me, but overall, nice flow, and this guy can do wonders in the future, I'm sure, if he improves a little bit. It wouldn't be fair not to mention this freak of nature, Henry Pierre Anno, and I'm saying a freak of nature because this guy is doing open and classic at the same time. And I'm saying weeks in between the shows, so he carbs up probably heavily for the open shows and he dehydrates heavily for the classic physique shows, and he does well in both, but I believe his true passion lies in open bodybuilding, and I don't think his physique is that clean, that classic for him to win the Mr. Olympia and beat Chris Bumstead. I don't really see that happening, but he is a good classic physique competitor. Wesley Wissers. This guy is all about the golden era, as you can see based on his shirt. His brand is Vintage Genetics. He's all about the old school bodybuilding. But if you take a look at him, you will notice one thing, and I'm sure everybody's staring at it. It's his waist. He has a broad, wide waist. And that's something that Arnold had, so he can hide it. I mean, to a certain extent, by twisting his waist like this, but even in these poses, and by doing the vacuum too, but even in these poses you can see that his waist is not that small, and it is wider than Arnold's. And there is another thing that he never really had, it's conditioning, and that's why he was knocked down quite a few places. And even if he brings the conditioning, I still don't see that structure that is required to beat somebody like Chris Bumstead. Do you know who this is, with his huge arms and with a mask on? That's Steve Lorius. And I had this guy winning the Anno Classic 2020, but he came off. And in my opinion, he has a better classic physique than Alex Cambronero. Even though he has better classic physique, he didn't bring the conditioning, and that's why he didn't win. And I can see him being better than Alex, but I would rather see Alex beat Chris than Steve, if that makes any sense. He is good, Steve Lorius is, don't get me wrong, he's really good. But his ribcage is not as wide, not as broad as Chris's, and I don't just really like his entire physique when it comes to genetics. Like chest, arms, when he puts them down, not super good. So, do I see him beating Chris? Maybe someday he improves a lot and comes super crisp, but not very likely. Terence Ruffin, how about this guy? This guy is very short, but he was able to beat Steve Lorius at the Arnold Classic because of his shape. This photo is photoshopped, I'm 99% sure, but this one actually isn't. You can see why he was able to beat Steve, even though he doesn't have exactly, perfect shape. He lacks arms and calves. He was peeled to the bone, guys. He was shredded. He is an absolutely amazing poser, and I like the fact that over the years he figured out his own unique way of doing a victory pose, and this is just Terence Ruffin pose, you can call it, this kind of victory pose, and it looks really classic, really aesthetic. Do I see him beating Chris Bumstead? Not very likely. And for the end we have this mysterious guy right here. Who is he? Who is he? This is me. This is me, of course. I'm not even close to being a pro, but maybe in the future, I hope so. I'm gonna try. I have a show coming in 2 days. Guys, go ahead, show me some love and support, follow me, let's get to 1,000 followers. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Go ahead and tell me, what do you think? Who's gonna be the next Classic Physique Mr. Olympia champion? Is that going to be anybody else but Chris Bumstead? As you can see, this is 2018 or 2017 Mr. Olympia, where Chris wasn't on and Brian was conditioned. Brian is better now. Brian improved, but Chris came conditioned pretty much. He didn't really grow much muscle, maybe a little, but he came conditioned, he came on, and that's why he won. And that's why I think Chris is going to be very hard to dethrone for many years. And overall, in my opinion, the guy who has the biggest chance would be Logan Franklin, but not this year. Whatever you guys think, tell me down below in the comment section. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe for more bodybuilding videos like this. All the best, guys, and keep it old school.